In the soft glow of a dimly lit hospital room, the world of rock felt strangely quiet. The steady beeping of a heart monitor echoed through the air, each sound carrying a weight that words couldn't hold. Lying there, hooked to wires and surrounded by memories, was Ace Frehley, the legendary guitarist of Kiss, the man whose riffs had electrified millions. But this time there was no roaring crowd, no flashing lights, no makeup or pyrotechnics. Just Ace. And the heavy silence that comes when a life built on noise begins to fade. Standing at his bedside was his daughter, Monique Frehley. Her eyes were swollen from sleepless nights and tears that refused to stop. She had always been the quiet one, living in the shadow of her father's fame, a fame that for years had both blessed and broken their family. When she was little, Ace was her hero. She remembered sneaking backstage, watching him in his full Kiss costume, the spaceman, with crowds screaming his name. But when the lights went out and the curtain dropped, the man behind the makeup was often lost, fighting battles no one could see. Fame had taken its toll. Long nights, wild tours, broken promises, and the loneliness that comes after the music stops. Monique saw it all. She loved him, but she also feared him. The addiction, the outbursts, the disappearances. There were days he was her father, and days he was just a ghost. As she sat there now, holding his trembling hand, the memories flooded back. She whispered softly, "Dad, it's me. I'm here." Ace opened his eyes slowly, weak, but filled with something she hadn't seen in years. Clarity, regret, and love. He tried to speak but couldn't, so she just talked. She told him about the things he'd missed. Birthdays, graduations, the quiet dinners she'd spent hoping he'd call. But she also thanked him, for the music, for the moments that made her believe in dreams, and for the lessons hidden in the pain. As the evening fell, the nurse came in to adjust his oxygen. Monique turned to leave, but Ace gripped her hand tightly. His lips moved slowly, forming faint words. She leaned close, and through the rasp of his breath, she heard him whisper, "I'm sorry. And I love you more than the music." Those words shattered her. 4 years she had waited to hear them, and now, in the twilight of his life, they were all that mattered. That night, Monique stepped outside the hospital for air. Fans had already gathered outside, leaving flowers, guitars, and photos. The man the world knew as a legend was to her just Dad. And in that moment she realized something. The world had seen Ace Frehley, the rock god, but very few had ever seen Ace Frehley, the father. And that story, she promised herself, would not die with him. The following morning, news spread across social media. Ace Frehley in critical condition. Messages poured in from around the world. Fellow musicians, old friends, even fans from decades ago sent their love and prayers. Inside the hospital, Monique sat by his side, playing his favorite Kiss track, "Rocket Ride." She laughed softly through tears. "You always said this song made you feel alive, Dad." His eyelids flickered. Maybe he could hear her. Maybe the music was reaching a part of him that words couldn't. Hours passed, and Monique decided to open the small black notebook she had found in his bag. His personal journal. Inside were handwritten lyrics, confessions, and letters never sent. Some were to her. One read, "Monique, if you ever read this, I hope you know I never meant to disappear. I wasn't running from you. I was running from myself." Tears hit the page. For the first time she began to understand the pain behind his fame, the pressure, the loneliness, the price of being the spaceman. When the doctors came in to check on him, Monique stepped aside. She watched their faces and knew the end was near. She whispered, "It's okay, Dad. You can rest now." Minutes later, the monitors fell silent. And with that, one of rock's greatest legends took his final bow. Days later, the world mourned. Candlelight vigils were held in cities from New York to Tokyo. Fans played his solos on the street, while old friends shared stories of the wild, brilliant man who had changed music forever. But Monique stayed quiet, until the night of his memorial. Standing on the stage her father once ruled, she spoke softly into the microphone. "People knew my dad as Ace Frehley, the rock star. But I knew him as something different. A man who made mistakes, yes. But also a man who tried. He taught me that forgiveness isn't about forgetting what hurt you. It's about remembering the love that came before it. The crowd stood in silence, tears rolling down faces both famous and unknown. Then she looked at his guitar, the one he'd played since the 70s, and said, "He told me once that every note he ever played was just another way to talk to God. So tonight I hope heaven's listening." The room filled with music. His last recording playing softly in the background. It was hauntingly beautiful. Weeks later, Monique shared one final message on her social media. "My father wasn't perfect, but he was real. And that's all I ever wanted. Rest easy, Dad. The music will never stop." And just like that, Ace Frehley's story became more than rock history. It became a reminder that even legends are human. Behind every guitar solo, every spotlight, every cheer, there's a heart that beats, breaks, and seeks forgiveness. Because in the end, fame fades. But love plays on forever.